When I say mass production, I literally mean I want a factory as big as a Tesla factory making houses. If you built a car in your garage by hand, what quality would it be? How expensive would it be? And how long would it take? And that's the way we're doing housing. If someone comes to me and says, I want to buy a house, here's my money, I can't even take it. I have to say, well, first let me check and see, are you allowed to build this house? Can we get the permits? Right. I want to make this thing so big and so crazy and so much better than every other option that anyone who wants to do building construction has to look at us and say, maybe I should just do that. This is a full world domination play here to create a new way to build and send the old way extinct.
Hey, welcome to the CashFlow quest. So we believe that all roads end with the need for cash flow and basically a distribution or a dividend, or you make some big chunk of money somewhere, you're going to end up needing to deploy it to live on the interest in some capacity. It's really fun because we go after people that have either are on their way, have made a good chunk of money, can give all of our investor base, and then plus some newer people that are tracking us and following us on how to kind of use the sage advice from people that have done it. So yeah, welcome Galiano. And he's the co-founder of BOXABL. And so we're excited to have you, man.
Well, I've made some money here and there. Yeah. But right now working on BOXABL, which is factory mass production of housing. We've got our factories in Las Vegas where we are trying to fix housing by putting it on the assembly line and basically building houses the way they build cars, because that's really the best example of modern mass production. Most car factories like a Tesla or Ford, they'll put off one car off the assembly line every 60 seconds or less. So they're just cranking out cars. And the result of that is lowest cost, highest quality, et cetera. And those same principles, we want to apply that to housing. And we're well on our way. We started the company in 2017 and built about 800 houses now, and started out in the accessory dwelling unit market with the small home. And now we're moving on to different product types. So like single family, multifamily stuff.
It's so interesting. And, us being in the mobile home park realm, how did you guys get started in this industry?
Yeah. So back in the day, like 20 years ago, the house that I grew up in, when we moved out, my dad tore it down and rebuilt it and sold it. And he used modular. So he used factory built housing. And he just experienced all the different problems and friction points that come along with doing any kind of construction, and specifically modular. And he came up with the idea to fold up the room modules, because traditional factory built housing ships a wide load. And the big problem there is that's going to limit how far the factory can ship because the shipping's so expensive.
Right.
And then if you have a small factory, you're not going to get mass production. When I say mass production, I literally mean I want a factory as big as a Tesla factory making houses. And that's the only way we're going to get the price where it needs to be. So his initial innovation was fold up the house. Most rooms are obviously empty space, so you can fold it up. You'd be more efficient. And we can ship a 20-foot wide room module on a highway legal load, 8.5 foot wide. That would probably take 2 trucks wide load to bring without the folding solution.
Yeah, we do it all the time. We do 50 to 100 new manufactured homes into our communities. There's a lot of constraints.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to your point, they all have to have these like sub-market factories. And then it's like, oh, well, we'll buy from over here. Maybe they're in Arizona, they let you do 18-foot wide loads down the highway. And so they're these massive, frankly, crazy things to have on the highway. I think they drive them in the middle of the night or whatever, or super early morning. But yeah, so I love the concept. I've been telling people for years, setting you guys aside, I've been telling people for years that why are we still assembling cars in your garage? Basically it's like, okay, I want a house. All right, we're going to bring all the parts and assemble it on site. It's like, why?
Yeah.
At a minimum, like you're saying, you could start stacking these pods. And I mean, they do that, but it's not really taken hold yet as an industry thing.
Yeah, and that's the perfect example. If you built a car in your garage by hand, how poor quality would it be? How expensive would it be? And how long would it take? And that's the way we're doing housing. And it's a huge problem all around the world. There's a 5 million housing unit shortage in this country, and somebody's got to crack the code. And I think it'll be us.
Will you guys be able to build basically anything? So it's just like ADU was like a kickoff mechanism.
And you have that really cool Casita model, like on your website, there's like a Casita model, but then it looks like you do bigger ones that like piece together, right? So how many pieces, is it just infinity depending on how big you're trying to do a floor plan?
Exactly. Yeah. So, started out with the Casita because we saw that there was a lot of changes happening in California to encourage these backyard units. And we thought that'd be a great foot in the door. And now we've rolled out a new building system based on everything we've learned since we started the company. Because Casita, we're still building that the same way we were day one. And we've learned a lot since then to improve the process, improve the product, lower the cost, help with the regulations, and more. So that's all going into our phase 2 product, which you can visit at our factory, and you can see those bigger room modules stacked into a townhouse, as an example. And that's what we're kind of diving into now, is getting the word out, like, hey, we want to build your project, and we think we can do it faster and cheaper than the traditional methods. So another kind of change we're doing is, the original idea was that we would try and be a factory and build these room modules and sell them to builders and developers. But now we're thinking it makes more sense for us to take over the whole project, start to finish, for the customer. And then in the future, be our own customer, buy the land, do our own development. So just go further into the vertical integration, because we think that's how we'll be able to push the cost down, do more projects. And there's just a bigger and bigger market size the more you get into that vertical integration. Because if I can say, how many people want to buy this room module? Like, you guys buy room modules, right? And you put them on mobile home parks. So how many guys like you are out there compared to how many people want to go on Zillow and buy a house? That's the biggest market. So what I want to end up doing is saying, all right, I'm buying my land, BOXABL's buying land, BOXABL's doing developments, and then BOXABL's dropping them on Zillow at below market rate and selling them quick and moving and moving and moving. And I think that's the biggest target for the company, to find customers, sell quickly, and keep the projects rolling.
Such a cool concept, I guess. And for my knowledge, like when you say that, when you're going to buy a piece of land and then put the BOXABL unit on there, do you guys pour like a foundation, or how is the home secured to the land?
Our modules don't need a foundation. You could just drop them down anywhere because they have a big, strong floor on them.
Okay.
But in most cases, you're going to put a foundation, drop the room module, unfold it, in a day, trench in your utilities beforehand, and it's a much faster process than traditional construction.
How long does it typically take once the home hits the site to, pull the walls up and set up from start to finish?
We can unfold it in like 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. With a big crane.
After that,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, with a crane. And then after that, a little bit of touch up and connecting utilities and stuff. Maybe it's a couple days to be totally done.
Okay. That's incredible.
Yeah. I watched a couple of the videos.
Yeah.
And it seems like more of the work is getting the site prepped.
That was another thing that I kind of underestimated going into this, was just how long these projects would take and how long the sales cycle would take. Because if someone comes to me and says, I want to buy a house, here's my money, I can't even take it. I have to say, well, first let me check and see, are you allowed to build this house? Can we get the permits? How long is the government going to make us wait to okay this? Then we have to get financing. Then we have to get the foundation poured and utilities installed. So all that has made the whole sales cycle for this product longer than I would have liked or expected. But we're starting to see a lot of traction, a lot of contracts signed, and like leads that we started working on a year ago are coming to fruition, and it's beginning to snowball. And we're really excited to see what happens with sales in the next year.
So once you get the green light to build the house for a client, how long in the factory, I'm sure it depends on the size, but like how long does it typically take to build the house in the factory?
So we can put one house off the assembly line like every 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
So we can output one house, one room module at that speed right now. And we're not operating quickly or at a high volume right now. We're still figuring things out. But, like I said before, we want to get to the point where we're putting out one house per minute. And that's the only way to fix housing, because I believe that if we do that, the labor portion of the cost to build the house goes down to next to nothing versus on site, probably stick building. I don't know, but probably it's a very significant percentage of the total cost to build a house. And that's the beautiful thing about assembly line, especially if you have those stations moving quickly. There's just the labor cost just goes down and down. So that's what it's all about for us. We have 3 buildings, 400,000 square feet. It's a big operation with a big overhead, but this is just proof of concept for me. And then as we continue to prove that the company can make this happen and make a viable business model, we're going to keep going back and asking for more capital from the markets, and hopefully we'll get it. We have so far, and keep scaling and scaling like crazy.
From a regulation standpoint, I feel like in a way, I'll paint a parallel with Elon, and I followed some of his stuff. And it seems like because he went to electric cars, it kind of like created this weird regulatory like open space to run, because it was like this whole new thing. Is that kind of what's happening, where like, are you bumping into a ton of regulations that are old that you can't cut through? Or is there a newness where there's not regulations in place for this? So what's,
I mean, it's funny, like even Elon at that scale, he still has issues with the dealerships.
Yeah.
Like I tried to buy a car in Connecticut, and they're like, you got to go to the Indian reservation because Connecticut told them no. So they had to do a deal with a foreign, not a foreign government, but a
sovereign nation, whatever.
Sovereign nation government. It's just crazy how much the government and regulators hold everyone back. And you guys, are doing business. You understand. I'm sure you've bumped into regulators that have caused you problems and done stuff that doesn't make sense, and done stuff just because they're some guy on a power trip or something. And unfortunately, with building construction, there's a lot of people along the way that can say no and stop something from happening. However, we are seeing a tremendous amount of change happening, a tremendous amount of new laws, reform, especially in California. And I was surprised that California was one of the easiest states for us to do. Not the easiest state, but they were really good to work with. And I didn't think it would be like that, because there's high level of regulation in California. But they have passed all these laws to push these ADUs through. So we were able to get our houses approved there pretty quickly. In some other states, we're waiting multiple years to get approval. So multiple years basically means, fuck you, you're not coming to my state. And that's not right.
No kidding.
So I'm at war right now with these regulators, and it's nasty. Like I have a lawsuit against Arizona. I have government employees posting shit online, nasty stuff online. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever experienced, and there's no reason for it. Like I'm literally coming and saying, hey guys, I want to make houses. You guys want houses. I want to help you. I want to help people to have more affordable living. And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, why? But we are pushing really hard. We are going state after state after getting approval. We are getting new approvals quite often. We are finding workarounds. We are adjusting our product to make it easier for the regulators to understand. We're getting better and better at communicating with them. But it's crazy because there is, I believe, about 35 state programs for factory built housing. So a traditional builder just goes to the building department in the city and says, hey, can I build this? And they have a lot of problems doing that. And that might take them a year to get it approved, 18 months to get it approved. But for us, we have to go to an additional layer of regulation, which is the state, where they've created these redundant and agencies. So the state programs that exist don't do anything different than the building department, but you just have to do it twice. And some of them say no. Well, like I said before, they don't say no. They just make you wait forever. So they basically say no. There's all these different programs. They all work differently. There's all different people you have to talk to. There's all different fees. There's all different licenses. So it's not even just 35 states. It's 120 licenses and 300 people you have to be in contact with, and 50 different ways you have to submit for a building plan. And each state has a different building code. Another big problem, they're all using different versions of the building code. And it's interesting that you guys are factory built housing, HUD mobile homes, because the only reason they've been able to make a sustainable business model and survive, because no modular builder has survived pretty much. If you go on Grok and say, make me a list of modular builders that have failed, the list is so long. I tried to post it on Twitter and it went over the character limit because it's so long. But those are the guys doing modular, which is regular residential building code. And then you have the guys that you buy from, which is HUD, which is a federal code. So that regulation, even though it's not perfect and it's not great and it's very limited, and it's very limited in scope and design and zoning is an issue in a small market. Mm-hmm. Clayton, Champion, Cavco, those guys are real businesses that have a sustainable business model. And it's because of that regulation. Otherwise, they would get killed by the same things that are trying to kill me, which is these 35 state programs. Versus, for example, Oklahoma doesn't have a state program. I have houses there. I have beautiful 2-story community there. And there's nothing unsafe or bad or different in that state than the one with the state program, except that they just didn't get it in our way. So it's crazy.
So on that tack, can you guys build HUD coded homes on trailers?
Yeah, we totally can. And it's just a business decision whether that makes sense for us right now to put our limited resources in that direction. And I don't think it is the move at this moment, because those HUD guys and their pricing is extremely competitive. So why would I go after that when I can go after, people paying $500 a foot in LA with my product? So, but we are doing other things like we have the Casita on wheels under the park model RV regulation, which does open things up a little bit, and certain parks can accept that. So potentially some of your parks could accept a Casita as a park model RV.
And is that, what is the Casita footprint? Because that's now our biggest constraint, because we were talking about let's buy a few of them and try them. Yeah. But RV parks that can do the park models are pretty linear,
Yeah. And it's 19 by 19. So it's not,
okay.
HUD footprint. But it depends on the specific park, whether that's going to fit in there or not.
Right.
Yep. We'd have to just look. I bet you we have a few parks.
I think so.
And because we actually have, we've done park models, and actually park models are not that cheap. We can buy a 16 wide, single wide mobile home by 56 for the Clayton Tempo series. They are so reasonable for that. It's like 600-700 square feet. We can get it under 60 grand. But when you go to a park model, they're basically 60 grand for 400 feet. You lose the efficiency on them.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like an escape plan that I came up with when I bumped into these regulations. I figured out that the park model things are less heavily regulated. So I was like, all right, guys, slap some wheels on them and send them to the mobile home park.
Yeah, I'm
which
talking.
We did. And we have something down the street, a little park.
Is it Ross?
Yeah, we have it. We got Ross. Yep.
Yeah. So I talked to Ross, and I'm gonna tag up again, because it'd be fun to try a few and even rent them out. Just see how they hold up. What's the roof? And so we also operate an apartment deal in North County, San Diego, and so we're familiar. When you consolidate those systems, it just gets to be a big building. So like, is that something that you guys have worked the challenges out of like longevity and just maintenance and stuff like that?
Yeah. So the roof has TPO membrane on it, which is like whatever from some big company. I forgot what they're called. GAF, something like that. 20-year warranty, all that. I mean, the thing's rock solid. Like it's crazy because of the way we build it. It's got the foam in the walls. So you could literally go to the wall and try to kick through it and you're not going to get through it. And there's like videos of me hitting it with stuff, baseball bat, whatever. Yeah, they're solid and they meet and exceed building code and definitely higher quality than traditional construction.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'd be interested. So is that like the same material that they use on like trailer, like RVs, or is that a better high?
So what we're using for the current gen is structurally insulated panel. So it's EPS foam laminated to sheet steel and magnesium oxide board on the inside. So super hardcore, strong, very well insulated.
So you put a mini split on them and they get cold for like Arizona. You think we could keep them cold?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Vegas.
We're in Vegas, so we got our mini split units sitting out front, nice and cold.
Nice. Yeah. So do you think we could set them in Arizona as an RV?
Yes. If your park is locally zoned for park model RV,
yeah,
good to go.
Okay.
But that's like a very nuanced thing where it's a local deal and the park is either going to be, maybe the code says nothing on what you can put in there. Maybe it says HUD home only. Maybe it says temporary RV only, or maybe it allows park model RV. I know that there are some big park model RV parks in Arizona. So maybe one of your places has that. Would be pretty cool.
Yeah. We have
throw some in there.
We have one in downtown Phoenix. That's, it was a mobile home park, but it also can be used as an RV park. Yeah, so then I got to look into the code exactly what it sits, because on our side, we never get in trouble for that. If we use a park model mobile home, as long as we're not setting like big HUD homes and we're just doing park models, we have no problem. But if we do HUD homes, then it has to be a mobile home park, So yeah, I'll check into it. I'll maybe see if we can buy one. I was talking to Ross and just try it, try to set it and see what happens. Cause it'd be interesting.
We'll check with your lawyer first.
No,
we have, especially considering I'm suing Arizona, but, so some parks even have this thing where it's like, when it's an RV park, it says in the code, maximum 30 days stay. So check for that as well, because they're thinking, oh, it's RV, so you're going to drive up something, versus park model RV, which are usually permanently dumped places. Yeah.
It'd be fun. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so paint me the big vision on where you think this is going, and like, are you going to try to become like the building source? So like you don't even build with lumber on site anymore and do all of the rigmarole?
I want to make this thing so big and so crazy and so much better than every other option that anyone who wants to do building construction has to look at us and say, maybe I should just do that, because look at these case studies. It's cheaper, it's faster, it's higher quality. I can turn more projects per year. I can not deal with 20 different contractors who are probably all trying to rip me off and doing all kind of naughty things. And, as we have kind of early adopters coming in and doing projects with us, we'll keep showcasing that, and more people will get inspired to be confident enough to take the plunge and do stuff with us. And we'll keep scaling and we'll keep pushing the cost down. And this is a full world domination play here to create a new way to build and send the old way extinct.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's really
So
cool.
Yeah.
So it's funny because you're trying to basically break the old mold, and I agree with it. I agree with all of the concept.
I do too.
And so it's funny is that we've been now buying mobile home parks for 15, 16 years because my dad was a builder.
Yeah.
And he got so fed up with how difficult it was to develop multifamily. And so we decided to heck with it. Let's just buy every mobile home park because it's hard as heck to develop a mobile home park. Like you literally can't.
Unless you go out very, very rural. And then even then there's a bunch of red tape and like,
because they don't want them anywhere.
No, but they love them, and then they'll defend them and like threaten to sue us over rent increases in certain states and all that. But it's like, well, whatever, we're existing by right. And so that's why we love it, because we'll go into the middle of a city where there was a mobile home park built in the 60s and 70s. And then we go in there just like the nice, value add multifamily guys and make them really high end and functional. And, the clubhouse hasn't been open since the 70s, like weird stuff. And then we do all new inventory in any vacant site. And we're basically running in the groove that they've cut for us because they won't let us build anymore and bring any more supply. And then we have the defensibility of the fact that it's so affordable and nobody can compete.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. Like you're on the other side of that game. So yeah, man, I'd love to help you in any way from the manufactured housing side. I know Jim Clayton, he wouldn't know me, but I've met him a couple of times. So we're super connected in that realm. If you ever want to look at it seriously, I could plug you in.
Yeah, definitely.
And thank you.
Or just chat about it. But yeah, so it's really good to meet you and kind of hear your story, man.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See what happens next. It's been a wild ride so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck with the IPO path and best of luck to you guys. I love what you're doing too. And I think that, I think just staying persistent, right? I think you guys are going to get through eventually. There's such a need for affordable housing and there's shortage with housing everywhere. So, I think you're onto something here. So keep going and good luck. And thanks for being here today. We really appreciate it. And yeah, like Blake said, we're here to help. If ever you think we can, let us know.
Thank you. I'll keep it in mind. And for anyone listening, please head over to boxable.com. Check out our social media, our YouTube. We are constantly posting updates on what we're working on. And, we welcome you to come visit us anytime in Las Vegas and have a tour of the factory and see if we can help you build your vision. And we are, full service from idea to handing you the keys. We'll take over everything and make it happen with a factory advantage.
We'll link all of that below too, so it makes it easier for everybody.
Nice.
Cool. Have a great day. Nice
Thanks for
chatting
joining
with
us.
you.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.